The internet didn't just whisper this time, it exploded. One moment, timelines were filled with highlight reels of championship victories. And the next, everything shifted into chaos as the name Claressa Shields began trending for reasons that had nothing to do with titles, belts, or victories. Screenshots started circulating, cryptic captions appeared, and fans began asking one chilling question. Is someone behind the scenes putting her entire legacy at risk? At the center of the storm sat Papoose, silent, watchful, and suddenly everywhere in the conversation, social media users claimed they noticed patterns, timing, and moments that didn't quite add up. Every post, every appearance, every rumor felt like another spark landing on gasoline. And as whispers turned into viral debates, critics began to suggest something far more unsettling, that decisions being made off camera could have consequences far bigger than anyone expected. Then came the wave of reaction videos. Influencers slowed down clips frame by frame, pointing out what they called warning signs. Fans flooded comment sections with theories, some defending Claressa fiercely, others questioning whether she was being pulled into a situation that could slowly chip away at everything she spent years building. The pressure kept rising, the speculation kept spreading, and the tension became impossible to ignore, because now, insiders were hinting that what the public sees is only the surface, and what's happening behind closed doors could change everything about Claressa's future. If it hasn't already started, everything started to spiral, the moment whispers turned into what fans believed were receipts. Screenshots began surfacing across timelines, each one more explosive than the last. And suddenly the name Claressa Shields wasn't trending for knockouts or championship belts, it was trending for chaos. Fans who once praised her discipline were now dissecting every move she made, every word she posted, every photo she liked. And in the center of that growing storm sat Papoose, the man many believed had pulled her into a situation that was spiraling faster than anyone could control it. Didn't help that anonymous accounts claiming to be close to the situation started dropping what they called private messages. The first leak hit late at night, the kind of timing that always guarantees maximum attention. A blurry screenshot appeared with words that instantly triggered outrage. The message allegedly showed Papoose reassuring Claressa that everything behind the scenes was handled, promising that the noise from the outside world would soon quiet down. But what made fans uneasy wasn't the reassurance, it was the tone. It sounded calm, calculated, almost like someone carefully managing a situation that had already gone too far. Within minutes, reaction channels lit up. Commentators replayed the same lines over and over, asking whether Claressa had trusted promises that were never fully backed by action. And then came the twist. No one expected a second leak dropped, this time claiming that conversations about career decisions had been happening in private. According to the supposed insider, Claressa had been encouraged to shift her focus, delay certain appearances, and stay quiet while rumors swirled. That detail alone sent shockwaves through fans who feared that silence could be misinterpreted as weakness. As debates intensified, a viral clip began circulating that showed Claressa responding emotionally during what looked like a live session. Her voice sounded tense, her words sharp, and viewers claimed they could see frustration boiling beneath the surface. Some said it looked like exhaustion. Others said it looked like someone fighting to hold her composure while the world judged her from every direction. The comments under that clip exploded into thousands of heated reactions, with fans arguing about whether she was defending herself or defending someone else entirely. Then came the rumor that turned everything from messy to dangerous. A so-called industry insider claimed that sponsors were quietly watching the situation unfold, paying attention not just to headlines but to perception. The suggestion alone was enough to send shockwaves through her fanbase. In professional sports, image matters almost as much as performance. And once doubts begin to creep into public perception, they don't disappear easily. Suddenly, every trending topic felt less like gossip and more like a threat hovering over her future. Meanwhile, Papoose remained publicly composed, rarely addressing the storm directly. That silence became its own kind of noise. Critics argued that his calm demeanor felt suspicious, as if he was standing just far enough away from the flames to avoid being burned. Supporters, however, insisted he was simply refusing to feed into chaos. But behind the scenes, rumors insisted there were heated conversations happening, arguments that never reached microphones but echoed loudly enough to rattle the people closest to the situation. And just when it seemed like the tension couldn't climb any higher, another supposed recording surfaced. This one, fans claimed, captured a fragment of a private discussion where raised voices could be heard. The audio was distorted, barely clear enough to understand, but certain phrases sent chills across social media. Words like timing, pressure, and damage control echoed through the recording, triggering speculation that strategies were being formed not to fix the situation, but to contain it. That single recording ignited a new wave of online fury. Hashtags surged. Debates intensified, and reaction channels dissected every second of audio, like investigators searching for hidden clues. Some fans insisted the recording proved Claressa was under immense emotional strain. Others believed it showed how deeply entangled her personal and professional worlds had become. Either way, the narrative was shifting rapidly from gossip to something that felt dangerously close to reputational fallout. Then came the emotional breaking point that pushed everything into overdrive. A late-night post appeared on Claressa's page, brief but powerful, hinting at exhaustion and betrayal without naming names. Within seconds, screenshots flooded the internet, and theories multiplied like wildfire. Was she speaking about critics? About people in her inner circle? Or about the very person many believed had dragged her into this storm? The ambiguity made it worse, leaving space for endless speculation. But the real shock came hours later, when fans noticed something chilling: a sudden disappearance of posts that had previously defended Papoose. Entire threads vanished without explanation, leaving followers confused and suspicious. Deleting posts in the middle of controversy never calms the storm. It fuels it, and that's exactly what happened. Online detectives began piecing together timelines, comparing archived screenshots, and building theories that suggested cracks were forming beneath the surface. As tensions reached a boiling point, reports surfaced that Claressa had missed or postponed a planned public appearance, something she rarely did without reason. That single absence became the loudest statement of all. Fans questioned whether she was overwhelmed, distracted, or dealing with pressures far greater than anyone realized. The speculation intensified when whispers claimed that arguments behind closed doors had grown louder, sharper, and more emotional with each passing day. And then, just when the chaos seemed unstoppable, a final twist hit like thunder. A fresh leak surfaced, claiming that a private confrontation had turned explosive, with accusations flying and emotions spilling beyond control. According to the alleged insider, voices were raised, trust was questioned, and promises were thrown back like weapons in a war of words. The leak ended abruptly, cutting off leaving listeners frozen in suspense, because if those last words were true, then the next move wouldn't just shape headlines, it could decide whether Claressa's reputation survives this storm, or collapses under the weight of secrets that are only beginning to surface. The tension didn't cool after that explosive confrontation leak, it multiplied. Within hours, new whispers spread that the argument hadn't ended with raised voices alone. According to another so-called insider, the fallout continued long after the shouting stopped, stretching into late-night exchanges that left emotions frayed and trust hanging by a thread. The name Claressa Shields kept climbing the trending charts, but now the conversation had shifted from concern to outright fear that the chaos surrounding her was becoming impossible to control. Fans began noticing subtle but chilling changes. Interviews that once showcased her confidence suddenly felt tense, with viewers claiming her tone carried a weight that hadn't been there before. Comment sections exploded with speculation that she was fighting battles outside the ring, battles that couldn't be solved with gloves or discipline. And right beside her name, the name Papoose continued to surface, dragged into headlines whether he spoke or stayed silent. That silence, once seen as calm restraint, was now being interpreted as something far more calculated. Then came the rumor that shook even her most loyal supporters. A blogger known for stirring controversy claimed that executives tied to potential deals had quietly requested updates about the drama unfolding online. No official statements were released, but the suggestion alone ignited panic across social media. Fans feared that sponsors, promoters, and decision-makers were watching closely, measuring every headline and every viral moment against the image she had worked years to build. In professional sports, perception isn't just reputation, it's currency. And once that currency begins to lose value, the damage can be swift and brutal. As speculation intensified, another wave of alleged messages surfaced, this time described as voice notes. The recordings, grainy and incomplete, were said to capture fragments of frustration and exhaustion. Listeners claimed they heard references to pressure from all sides and warnings about how fast things were spiraling. Whether authentic or not, the effect was immediate. Social media erupted into chaos, with fans debating authenticity while critics insisted the leaks painted a picture of someone being pulled into a storm she never intended to enter. But the chaos reached a new level when a viral clip appeared showing what looked like a heated exchange caught accidentally on camera. The footage was shaky, unclear, but the voices sounded strained, sharp, emotional. Viewers claimed one voice sounded desperate, pleading for clarity, while another sounded defensive, dismissive, even irritated. The clip ended abruptly, cutting off just as the argument seemed to reach its peak. That sudden silence felt louder than any shouting, leaving audiences desperate to know what happened next. Meanwhile, reaction channels began dissecting every second of every leak. turning speculation into full-blown theories. Some argued that Claressa was being unfairly targeted, forced to carry the weight of public criticism while others remained untouched. Others insisted she was fully aware of the risks and had chosen to stand in the storm anyway. The debates grew vicious, with fans splitting into factions that clashed in endless comment wars. Each side claimed to have the truth, but no one had proof strong enough to silence the noise. Then came the emotional moment that sent shockwaves through her fanbase. A brief live session appeared online, short, tense, and filled with visible frustration. Viewers claimed her voice cracked as she spoke about loyalty, trust, and betrayal without naming anyone directly. That single moment ignited a wildfire of speculation. Was she addressing critics? Was she responding to rumors? Or was she sending a message meant for someone behind closed doors? The ambiguity made it impossible to ignore. Just as the noise reached its peak, whispers surfaced about a private meeting that allegedly turned explosive. According to the latest leak, accusations flew like punches in a high-stakes match. Words like sacrifice, risk, and damage echoed through the supposed confrontation, leaving listeners stunned. The source claimed emotions spiraled out of control, with trust unraveling faster than anyone expected. And as those rumors spread, fans began asking the question that no one wanted to answer. How much of her career was being placed on the line because of choices made outside the ring? Then the internet delivered what many called the most shocking twist yet. Screenshots appeared showing what looked like heated exchanges between supporters and critics, turning social media into a battlefield. Hashtags surged, memes spread, and viral edits replayed past moments in slow motion, framing them as signs that the situation had been unraveling for months. Some fans accused Papoose of creating confusion by refusing to clarify his role, while others defended him fiercely, claiming he was being unfairly blamed for a storm fueled by gossip. Through all of it, Claressa's name remained at the center of the hurricane. Analysts began questioning whether the constant pressure could affect her focus, her discipline, even her performance. Supporters feared that distractions outside the ring might bleed into her professional life, creating cracks in the armor that had once seemed unbreakable. And every new rumor felt like another weight added to her shoulders, another shadow creeping over her legacy. But the most chilling moment arrived when whispers began spreading about a decision that had yet to be announced publicly. According to the latest insider chatter, a major move was being considered, one that could redefine her career trajectory entirely. Some claimed it involved stepping back temporarily. Others suggested it could mean confronting the controversy head-on in a way no one expected. Either option carried risk, and the uncertainty made the tension unbearable. And just when it seemed the chaos had reached its limit, a final revelation surfaced, one that sent shockwaves through even the most skeptical observers. A new recording allegedly captured during a heated exchange hinted at a line that froze listeners in their tracks, a warning about consequences that could not be undone once certain decisions were made. The audio cut off mid-thought, leaving the most critical detail hanging in silence. That silence became the loudest moment of all. Because if those warnings were real, then the next step wouldn't just affect headlines, it could determine whether Claressa Shields rises above the chaos stronger than ever, or watches everything she built stand on the edge of collapse, waiting for one final move to decide her fate. And now, the biggest question isn't just what happened behind closed doors, it's what happens next. Because the storm surrounding Claressa Shields and Papoose is far from over, and every new rumor, every leaked message, every viral clip feels like another spark waiting to ignite an even bigger explosion. The truth is, situations like this don't just disappear overnight. They build, they escalate. And when the pressure reaches its breaking point, the fallout can shake careers, reputations, and legacies in ways no one sees coming. That's why you need to stay locked in right here. Because the next update could change everything. New leaks are rumored to be circulating, insiders are hinting at more revelations, and fans across the internet are already bracing for what might drop next. If even half of what's being whispered behind the scenes turns out to be true, then the story you just heard is only the beginning of a much larger chain reaction. And trust this, the moment new details surface, the internet will explode all over again. So don't just watch from the sidelines. Make sure you hit that like button right now, because every like pushes this story further into the spotlight, where it can't be ignored. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Claressa can protect her legacy from the chaos, or do you believe the pressure surrounding Papoose is putting everything at risk? Your voice matters, and this conversation is only getting louder by the second. And most importantly, subscribe and turn on notifications, because missing the next update could mean missing the moment that changes everything. In a story this intense, silence isn't safe. Staying informed is the only way to keep up before the next shocking twist hits, and the internet goes wild all over again.